Hello friends, Tanya here for Trinity Stamps, and today I am going to be playing with some Slimline stamps to make a 5x7 card. This is the Buttercup Blossoms stamp set. This came out last spring, and this is a coordinating die and stamp set. All of the images in this stamp set have coordinating dies, and I'm going to use just 2 of the images here. I have this giant Buttercup Blossoms swag here that is actually sized to fit on the entire front of a Slimline card, but I'm going to heat emboss this with some gold embossing powder on a large sheet of cardstock here. This happens to be a 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of white, heavyweight white cardstock. I am heat embossing this quickly, and you can see how beautiful and detailed that image is. We're going to do it twice on this piece of cardstock. I had actually lined it up about 2.5 inches from the left side of that cardstock for the first image. And when I go to do it again, I have to realign it. So I laid a piece of clear plastic inside the MISTI and then realigned my stamp. That way I didn't have to clean it between inkings. And I did ink both sides of this twice with some juicy embossing ink to get good impressions. I wanted this to be a really beautiful backdrop for this card. Here we can see the back-to-back swags there. And then I'm going to do a couple impressions of the bloom cluster. I am only going to show you once, but I do stamp this twice with the juicy ink on the same heavyweight white cardstock, and I'm embossing it with the same gold embossing powder. Next, I'm going to color these blooms with some Copic markers. I did mix the BGs. There's BG, I think there's 3 different families here. I did show them to you at when I started, and I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. I think it was a BG32, a BG11, and I don't remember, maybe a BG45 for the darkest tone. I just used 3 different tones of BG colors, and I started with the darkest in the center and worked my way out. There's lots of little marks from the artist who designed these. Oh, and there's the greens we're going to use, YG13 and YG17. And again, I'm working from darkest to lightest and using the lighter tone to blend things out. These aren't super complicated, and the artist who drew these flowers really did a great job adding the marks for shading and all of the extra details. For the centers of these flowers, I'm using YR24 and Y18 and filled in with the lighter color and added some dots of the darker color. I did use the coordinating die to die cut those, and now we're going to use the modern embossed A7 layers dies, and this is the 4.5 by 6.5 inch layer. This creates a beautiful mat for the image that we're going to put on, or a wonderful mat for the whole card that we're doing. I'm going to take the Happy from Simply Sentimental Happy stamp and die set to do a nice embossed Happy. This is going to be a Mother's Day card, and I did use several different stamp sets. This is a sentiment for almost every occasion, and I took the Happy Mother's Day from that set, and I'm going to emboss that on this aqua teal colored cardstock with some white embossing powder. This is a very emboss heavy card, but it's such a magical technique, and I bet most of you have the supplies to do this. It's only 2 embossing powders, white and gold. I am also using the banner die from the Simply Sentimental U stamp and die set, and that works perfectly. I did some oh, and that rectangle is from the Modern Embossed A7 stack also. It's one of the smaller ones. That's going to be our anchor for all of our central images. And for my banner die, I did a little bit of partial die cutting to get it exactly the size I wanted. To add some dimension to my project, I added some cardstock scraps behind the gold embossed panel here, and then behind the aqua piece here I put a couple layers of coaster blank, and I'm using my T-square ruler here to make sure that it is nice and straight on this card. I took the flower groupings and added just one layer of heavyweight cardstock scrap behind these. That's because I want those to slide nicely underneath the larger rectangular center. And for the happy, that is getting adhered into the center of that rectangle in the middle. I did take that banner and trim off the word happy because I didn't want it to repeat. Actually, I didn't care if it repeated. I just didn't want it to take over the entire sentiment block. So I trimmed that off and lined it up with the bottom corner of the rectangle in the center, and that finishes off the front of the card. Inside, I decided I had to have that swag again. So I took my stamping platform that's open on two sides, and I put the floral swag in that. And then I centered the inside of my card edge on that image and stamped it with the Delicata Golden Glitz ink, which creates this beautiful detailed impression every time. Gorgeous. That concludes my tutorial today. This is the beautiful card that was created. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, take a moment to do that now. If you're interested in any of the product that I used today, check out that description box below. And until next time, bye-bye.